This is bigger than you realize. There's a first pee.
I thought he was done, and then I just picked him up and he tinkled again.
There it is. Today's video is special. It is the ultimate guide and everything you need to know to help potty train your dog like never before. We all know that keeping our dogs nearby while we're potty training them can be very beneficial. And with a hands-free leash, this can really make things a lot easier.
No hands!
Plus, it helps free up your hands when you're training your dog. Dogs crave novelty, and play with a person is so great for their development, their athleticism, their muscle memory, and I could go on and on. BarkBox excels at curating collections of high-quality, stimulating toys that you and your dog are going to be obsessed with. Super Chewer Box makes those really extra durable products for those super intense, strong dogs. I think this thing is tougher than an actual can of soup. When you sign up for a BarkBox subscription, they're going to give you this really high-quality hands-free leash. And when you sign up for a Super Chewer Box, they're going to give you an extra toy every single month. House training and potty training has to be one of the most common troubles that people have when they have a dog. In today's video, I'm going to help you know when your dog has to go outside, how often to take them out, how to get them to stop having accidents in the first place. There it is. And what to do when accidents do happen, how to handle excitement and submissive urination, along with how to make sure that you have long-term success. Being patient, being observant, that's the first step to effective potty training. If you really look closely, you'll notice that most dogs will give you signals that they're about to do their business somewhere. Pacing back and forth if your dog seems to be wandering around the room. Some dogs will vocalize their need to go outside by making sounds. It may not immediately be obvious, so you want to be very in tune with your new dog. Sniffing the ground. Dogs usually sniff before they go pee and poop, so that's another indicator that a potty event is about to occur. Scratching at a door, or even a baby gate in our case that we've noticed with Shade, where he's indicating, hey, I want to go that way, where I go pee and poop usually. Restlessness or anxiety. You might notice that your dog is becoming more agitated for one reason or another. This can include behaviors like circling around, making the vocalizations we talked about in combination with coming up to you or scratching at your person, jumping on you, pawing at you, getting up, lying down repeatedly in a short period of time. These are indicators that your dog is like, hey, I have needs. A hard focused stare could be your dog trying to communicate their needs to you as well. Another sign, especially with puppies, is any abrupt change in activity. For example, if your dog is chewing on something and they start to seem stable, but then they get up and they start playing, this might be a sign that they're feeling a bit antsy and need to go outside too. And if your puppy wakes up from a nap, even if it's just a 10-minute nap, go outside. Essentially, if you're wondering if you should take your dog outside, then you probably should. Are you trying to tell me you have to go outside? Is licking one of those signs that they have to go outside?
It is now.
How often should you be taking your dog outside? Especially with young puppies, when you bring them home in those first several days, even weeks, every 30 minutes to 1 hour is ideal. You want to give them ample opportunity to do their thing. That's his third poop of the day. Yes! And I'll throw in a treat there. I'm trying to surround desired behavior with desirable outcomes to him. Not so desirable to me. Your mindset should be such that it is better to take a puppy outside and have them do nothing than it is for them to have another accident inside. Let's go outside, sir. As your dog grows and improves, they're going to get better at holding it, so the frequency that you let them out won't be that much. Here's what I would recommend that you do on those potty breaks. When you're waiting for your dog to do their business, do your best to be patient. I've been out here a few minutes. You're not entitled to success every time you come outside. And look, sometimes it's actually helpful to take note of how long you've been outside, because if you're anything like me, 5 minutes waiting on a puppy to do their business feels like 5 hours sometimes. Oh, good man, he's peeing. There we go. Give you a treat for that. There's no doubt you will encounter the following. You will let your dog outside. They will not do anything. You will come inside, and within minutes, they will do what you wanted them to do outside. It's inescapable, even for me. Good luck. I mean, these types of accidents are very much going to teach you how to be aware of your puppy's schedule and teach you how to be one step ahead of them. Allow a learning curve for yourself, even if you're experienced with dogs, to account for the new puppy, because every single dog is completely different. When your dog does do their business in the appropriate place outside, start putting a word to it, like go pee or go poop.
Go pee.
This puts a word with the action so that eventually they'll learn what means what. And so in the future, you'll be able to say, go pee, and they'll go pee, right when you ask. It's possible. But what about all the times in between? These are when the accidents actually happen and the thing we need to get control of. First, you're going to look at the myriad of ways that you can control your dog's surroundings. Some specific items that I recommend to help you manage your dog's environment effectively are leashes and harnesses. By literally having your dog on leash or having them attached to you or dragging a lead around if you have a relatively small place, they remain supervised, they're easier to get to, and they can be guided to the proper potty spot when you start seeing some of those cues that we talked about earlier. Things like baby gates can be amazing for sectioning off parts of your house so that your dog is less likely to get out of your visual supervision. It might be a good idea to have something like a crate or a puppy playpen or a puppy-proofed room where your dog can chill. A relatively small area tends to be more beneficial. And that's because you can leave them in these puppy-proofed areas unsupervised when you need to. These should be introduced carefully. You should take your time with it. You want these places to be enjoyable for your dog. For example, with Shade, you've seen how he hasn't loved the crate immediately, but we've been working on it slowly. So in the meantime, I've been keeping him in the bedroom with me. So remember, if you're still working on getting your dog comfortable with the crate, don't force them in. You can confine them to a puppy-proofed area that you've established in the meantime. Now, one of the most effective things that's helped us with Shade, a dog who doesn't really love going into the crate, is putting all of his meals in there if I'm not using him for training, that is, or giving him a really amazing bone to chew on. Successful crate training is about getting your dog to experience being inside the crate while in a non-distressed frame of mind. It's literally getting him to spend voluntary time in the crate where he feels good. It's like, okay, right now the clock's not running. He's spending 0 time in the crate comfortably. 1, 2, 3 seconds in the crate, enjoying it. When you can get a dog comfortable in the crate, nice and tired, especially overnight, then you get 8 hours of that for free, even if they're unconscious. I count it. The thing about this is that once dogs realize that this is where they sleep, this is where they eat, they actually have an instinct to not pee and poop in areas like that. That's why it needs to be relatively small. Now, it might take your puppy a few days or a week or two to really understand this concept, but that's why we want to take our dogs out frequently to minimize potty accidents. So you're probably wondering, like, how do you know when your dog can have access to the rest of your house without supervision? So the ideal approach is to give your dog access to one room at a time during this period, and then once you feel comfortable with, hey, they're pretty good here in the living room, maybe I'll leave the bedroom door open as they start to get this. I want to talk to many of you who live in high-rise buildings or apartments, especially if your puppy is really young and you've got to walk farther than just outside your front door to find an appropriate place. You can try things like potty pads, grass pads. They even make special pads for balconies. I think it's a really good idea, especially for puppies, because they can't really hold it that long, especially after long periods of sleep, like first thing in the morning. So having an alternative place close by can set you up for success. And if you're using pads, for example, it doesn't mean you have to use potty pads for the rest of their life, and you still want to teach this as an acceptable place to go in addition to the grass or sidewalk if you're in a really big city. Always pick up. So what do you do when you catch your dog having an accident in an unapproved location? Throw out the idea of scolding or punishing your dog for this. Your dog didn't make a mistake here. They just don't understand. Just clean it up, move on, and do a better job next time. Let them out more often, keep them close to you, make sure that you have them on a leash if they're sneaking away from you. Worth mentioning this, dogs do not have potty accidents out of spite. They don't go somewhere because they know that it's going to make you mad or to communicate some type of revenge to you. Now, when you are cleaning up accidents like this, use enzyme-based cleaners so they really do a good job of not having smells that remain, because you know dogs. They're going to smell it. And we talk about something that in the industry is referred to as excitement or submissive urination. That's where a dog pees when they're really hyper or enthused or really nervous.
I thought he was done, and then I just picked him up and he tinkled again.
Now, in the case of a lot of puppies, simply looking at them causes them to pee, or barely touching them. This is different than normal potty training, but it is a challenge that a lot of people face because a lot of puppies come with this. Keep in mind, this is a completely involuntary voluntary behavior. Your dog's not like, hey, I think I'm gonna pee right now. They just can't help it. They love you or they're too nervous and pee flows out of them. If you've got guests coming over, having your puppy outside to do the greeting with the people that are coming over to see your new puppy, it's a really good idea to advise your family members or guests to not pet your puppy immediately for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't want to trigger the excitement urination or submissive urination. It's normal for excitement and submissive urination like this to continue up to about 2 years of age for some dogs. It's a spectrum, of course, and some dogs will outgrow it much younger. But if you notice they are still doing this, let's focus on addressing their underlying emotions. You can do training exercises that are optimized to show them how to feel more comfortable, more confident in those exact situations over time. And having a consistent routine can help your puppy understand what to expect and when to expect it. Now, for those of you with jobs out there, I want to give you some practical tips because it can be hard house training a puppy when you have to leave and go to work. Consider using feeding and potty schedules that align with your work schedule. During that first potty break of the day, my general practice, weather permitting, is to take the dog outside and just stay out there for a good 30, 40 minutes, let them do their business, let them play if you have another dog and they have a healthy relationship, allowing those dogs to play together as well, just to get them nice and empty to set your day up for success. Plus, the whole act of play and exercise for a young dog is a great way to get all those fun brain chemicals going. If it's possible for you to come home during a lunch break, that would be preferred, or you could have a family member, a neighbor, a friend. There are services that will help you out with this as well. Now, assuming your dog really gets along with other dogs, you might want to consider a very well-reviewed doggy daycare. Have things like puzzle feeders or treat dispensing toys to help keep your dog occupied when you're not away. That'll help with anxiety due to separation. This is bigger than you realize. Always make sure that you take into account when your dog has a big change in their surroundings. Going to a friend's house, for example, moving. This is probably the most common way that I'm aware of that dogs have regression with potty training. They're thrown off. They don't know that they live here now. Their yard is gone. I guess they'll go over there in that spare bedroom now. When you are changing the environment like this on your dog, regardless of their age, by the way, just assume they are no longer potty trained for a minute. They'll probably catch on very, very quickly when these changes happen, but you need to be very methodical. So, for example, when I'm traveling with my dogs and I'm staying at an Airbnb, the first thing I'll do is walk them through the house and to the area outside that they need to go to so that they get in the habit right away of going in that spot. So dogs don't necessarily generalize how to conduct their potty habits as well as we do. Most of us do. If this does happen, just go through the process we talked about. Do an abbreviated version of it if you need to. Make sure doors to all of your rooms in your house are closed. Use baby gates if you have to. But again, with older dogs, they're probably going to catch on very quickly at this point. The big theme to successful potty trainers is that they're very in tune with their dog and they're preventing and supervising wherever they can. All right, we're going back in. He didn't go. And here we are again. If you've been doing these steps and you're like, man, something's not right here. Behavior like this can sometimes be signs of a medical issue, like a urinary tract infection, for example. Taking your dog to the vet to rule out any underlying health problems that might be responsible could be a good idea if you think this might be the case with your pup. When you sign up for a BarkBox subscription, they're gonna give you this really high-quality hands-free leash. And when you sign up for a Super Chewer box, they're gonna give you an extra toy every single month. Click subscribe, click thumbs up if this video was helpful, support our amazing sponsor, and we'll see you in the next video. Why do I get up and walk away? I'm actually not going anywhere. I keep doing that.